I'm glad you are. But how long did it take to get to that point, though? You talk about creative differences and stuff, and
Yeah.
some people work on these things for months, if not a year or so, and they don't quite get there. So, was at the end of the day, was it? Would you say it was a a process that you do all over again? Like, would you follow the same line of thinking to get those results?
I think I learnt quite a lot about what I want and what I don't want and going forward in the future, because a lot of people listen to this album and they're like, oh my God, how are you going to top this? And I'm like, really? Like, you have no idea what I can do. Because to me, it's just like, yeah, whatever, next. And I'm ready to go bigger, badder.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know what I can do that's in my head that I'm ready to get out in the future. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, this album in particular probably took a long time because there was a crowd fund that got it funded as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I have been working like 2 years on this project, and I'm like a one woman team as well most of the time. So it's just absolutely exhausting. I think I burnt myself into the ground. I had breakdowns. I was like crying every night for a few months. Like there were a lot behind the scenes that people didn't see. And like what you were saying, like it's really hard to push it to the other side and just finish a project and get it out there. But I'm a very ambitious person, and there's no way that I would like quit halfway through. I was like, no, as much as I'm like pushing this and there's so much to do, I'm gonna get it out there, and I did. So yeah.
Well, congratulations then. Yeah. And look, with the album, how long has it been out now for?
It came out on August 14, so it hasn't been out that long. What's it?
Oh
Today's
God,
the
a
19th
few
of August.
days.
So yeah, only a few days, and it's had crazy good reception. My fans are really happy, so I'm happy.
So what have they been saying though? Like, what's the actual feedback like? Are they surprised at the, when I say surprised, like that you could get it as polished as what you've been able to do? Because that's the link that I see across everything, is that it is world class. That it wouldn't be out of place on a Spotify playlist with Drake and that sort of those sort of
Oh,
that
that's so
quality of
sweet.
artists. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually ask a lot of them what they thought as well, and I've had messages, just like paragraphs of people giving me descriptions of how they feel about the songs and like the change in my sound, and so many people have said so many different things, but I guess what it has in common is um, every song on this album is different. So we've got pop songs, then we've got more chill songs, like you said, Dreaming. King of Eve is a bit more hard hitting, sort of like Amy Lee Belt vibes. And then Illusions is
Mhm.
just a whole other thing in itself. And then, yeah, so we're flipping between different genres really and styles, but it all comes under that alternative dark pop, which ties it together. And
Yeah.
everyone just, I don't know, they just like it. They can relate to the lyrics, they love the sound, and they also say that it's like really clean, and they like how it turned out, the production and the mixes and things like that as well.
So you mentioned in there the lyrical content as well. So what is there a narrative that's sort of common across all of the tracks, or are they all fairly individual in their identity?
I'd say some of them have some things in common. Like I wrote Speak to Me and Dreaming in the same week. Then there's other songs like Illusions. I was probably really manic when I wrote that one. I don't. That one has a pretty crazy concept just about reality, being an illusion, like kind of being in a matrix, and
Nice. Yeah.
wanting to connect to your higher self. And there's different dimensions, and people aren't who they seem, and there's all kinds of meanings in that song. And then King of Eve, as a whole, I guess it's about fighting for your dreams, and is quite motivational. So yeah, I guess they have some similarities, but they're different as well.
Yeah, lyrics. Now, look, I've written enough lyrics in my lifetime. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist, so I'm a writer as well.
Yeah.
And I find that I can scrap like up to 5,000 words in a moment and literally never see it ever again.
Wow. I wish
Just
I could do
because
that.
yeah, I used to keep it, but then I can get confused. So I thought, I sort of, my idea is, and I've heard guitarists, and I'm also a guitarist and bass player, right? So
Mm.
I've heard guitarists talk about this, is that they figure if the ideas are really that good, I think Paul McCartney actually said it, you'll remember it.
Mm.
That's how you, that's, so don't be afraid to say, record stuff or write stuff and effectively bin it, because if it's a great idea, it'll come back to you. Now, I don't know whether I completely agree with that, because God knows there's been riffs that I've had in my head that I've hummed into the iPhone that
Mm.
I haven't backed up. This is years before I had cloud backup and all the rest of it, and lost just because, you swipe up and it
Yeah.
cancels everything or what have you. And they're ones that I remember thinking very highly of at the time. But for yourself, is that lyric writing, is it a painful process as well, or is it a bit cathartic for you?
I think I can relate to a lot of things that you said. It's definitely both painful and cathartic, and I have songs that I've written years ago from when I was like 19 or something that I still love, that I want to show the world, that might see the light of day again. So there's definitely that. Sometimes when I'm really depressed or I'm feeling just so overwhelmed, I have to get it out of me and I'll write it. But a lot of the time I find I need a clear head to be able to get my ideas down properly. Um, so yeah, I guess it just depends when
Correct.
the
Yeah, I know what
inspiration
you're saying. Yeah.
strikes, and yeah.
Yeah, I've never subscribed to the theory that you can be going through a shitty time and create great music or write great lyrics. I've been through plenty of shitty times, and I've read back to back the poetry that I've written at the time or the lyrics, and I've hated them because
Yeah, it's
they're just
difficult.
not the creative juices. I think flow when you're feeling great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or even like I hope I can say this, even if you've had something that might make your or alter your reality slightly, if you know what I'm saying. So
Mm.
alcohol or whatever, I find that does help as well. I've got to say, and but is that not expecting an answer to that question, of course, but is it do you find that you have to be in a great place in order for you to create your best stuff?
Well, look, I'm bipolar, so there's periods where I'm manic and I'm just writing like crazy, and I can't control that. But that's when I'm feeling really good, and even if I'm writing a really depressing, sad song, I'm probably manic when I'm writing about it. But yeah, there's been times where I'm also depressed, or I guess under the influence. I've written stuff as well. So yeah, I don't have like a kind. I think people want this formula from me sometimes, and they're like, "Tell me what your secret is," and I really don't have one. Like, I wish I could tell people, because I still feel like sometimes after I finish an album, I'm like, "Okay, I'm not a songwriter. I'm not an artist anymore. I haven't written a song in 3 months. I've lost it. That's it. I'm done." And then a song will come out of nowhere, and I'll be so proud of it, and then I'm like, yes, I'm a writer again. So yeah, I don't. Do you relate to that as well?
No, I do.
Those
Yeah,
like mental block periods where you're like, oh my god, like I'm not even a songwriter. Who am I?
yeah, I definitely relate to it. Where I think as songwriters and as musicians, we have very few victories.
Mm,
We mostly feel conflict, and
mm,
we feel opposition,
yeah.
usually typically from within ourselves. But it is extreme. Like I'd say it's almost impossible to say. Like if I was to say to my wife, right, Friday, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a song. It's not going to happen on Friday. I can tell you
Yeah.
that now. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I've got two kids, right, and that's kind of like the sort of life I have to lead. The sort of how organised I have to be to sort of do these things. Or for me, my sweet spot is like between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m.,
Mm.
which doesn't really work when you've got a family, to be honest with you, because you're up and you might be having some Jack Daniels and whatever else, and you've got to get up the next morning at 6 to sort of get the kids organised for school. So
That's
I
tough.
just look, yeah, I just schedule my time away, like up at the Sunshine Coast or what have you, and just make sure, especially when I'm learning material.
No,
I'm
I
a
wish I was that close. So lucky. I love the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I used to work there, and we've got a place there, and it's, I mean, I spend some time in the unit, and then when I'm done, I sort of go down to the beach and come back and have a beer, and all's right in the world. I've got to tell you, when that happens, not to rub it in down there in bloody freezing, locked up Melbourne, so
Yeah. I went to
but this.
Noosa not that long ago, and I really miss it.
Yeah, there's a lot of even this is I can't imagine what it's going to be like post COVID, but pre COVID there are a lot of Victorians moving up.
Mm.
People I think are just fed up with the cold and
Mhm.
the hustle and bustle of Melbourne, which is turning into Sydney.
Yeah.
It's just getting so full on. I've noticed that. I mean, people from Melbourne don't like me saying this, but it used to be quite. It was approachable, say 10,
Mm.
15 years ago. These days, it's just. I almost got knocked over by a car the last time I was down there, like walking across a green light, like my green light. Car
I'm
just
not
went whoosh, and I was
surprised.
like,
Yeah, everyone's in a
"Holy
hurry down here.
shit!"
I found that when I went up to Queensland. I was so I love not being busy and I love that kind of peaceful quietness. Some people love the busyness of Melbourne. It kind of reminds them of New York or something. But when I go to Brisbane, I just find it so strange how little people there are in the airport. Even like when I land in the airport, I'm like, there's like no one here. Or I go to the
Yeah.
city at night, there's no one here. It's like the best. But Melbourne is packed all the time.
Yeah, Melbourne's just gone off the Richter scale. I mean, I've spent some time down there as a muso. I've done some recording down there and stuff, and we used to go to all the
Mm.
bars and clubs that people used to take us to, and had a tremendous time. I can't knock that. I mean, it's a wonderfully cosmopolitan place for that, but it's just getting big city syndrome at the moment, and I don't think once that happens, it's impossible to sort of wind it back, But
Yeah.
you know,
It's the music city though, like that's why I'm still here.
yeah,
Otherwise I would be living in, tropical Queensland. So I love the beach, I love the rainforest. So yeah, but where I
yeah,
am living in
nice,
Melbourne, like I've got the beach close to me and rainforest as well. So I guess it's not too bad. But it's
yeah.
not the same. It's not the same.
It's still Australia, but not the same. I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. And, look, with the lockdown and with this tremendous release that you've got, sorry, I was about to make this point earlier. So I think I half kind of made it, but I'll make the full point now, which is that it's such a shame that releases such as yours, and I really hope it doesn't happen, that it falls through the cracks, because I think music such as what you're doing here needs like a live outlet as well. Like you need to
Yeah.
be in front of people performing, and of
Yeah.
course you can't do that at the moment. So have you got a strategy for how you're going to bring the music to the people virtually?
Um, Sort of. I mean, I definitely have a strategy for playing live shows again. I have someone who works with me, Squire Touring, which is a new touring agency, and I was one of their first artists, and we're really close, me and the owner. So he does a lot of stuff on my behalf, and working on festivals and bigger gigs and things like that. So I'm really, really excited to be working with him because he's just one of those people that are so, I don't know, like just passionate about what they do and passionate about you, and you can tell that they're gonna help you. They're gonna help you succeed. So I love working with him. In terms of virtual, I'm still getting onto that because I just released the album like a few days ago. So I'm trying to like plan what I'm gonna do
Mm,
around the clock. Um, so yeah, we will see. It's hard because I play the piano, so I don't want to just do a set where it's all piano because I feel like that would be boring. So maybe I could sing with backing track, or I'm learning guitar at the moment, or there could be another musician that
good on you.
I sync with. There's so many different ways to do it. I'm not good at technology, so we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll plant the seed, because I think it's a great idea for you to work with a guitarist, an acoustic guitarist, because all
Yeah.
of these songs would work in an acoustic format. So,
Mm.
look, if you're looking for any ideas later on, because as I say, I really would love this release to be successful for you, and
Oh, thank
to
you.
reach the audience
Yeah.
that you want it, that it deserves to reach. You know what I'm saying? So, an
Yeah.
acoustic way is a good way of doing that, because it's just a very stripped down format, and people have it on
Yeah.
in the background and the like. And I know it takes a lot of organisation. You've got to sort of rearrange potentially some of the songs, but
Yeah. Yeah.
if you've got the time and you've got the inclination, that'd be a great way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's what I was planning on doing, but being in like stage 4 lockdown, we can't even go 5 kilometers outside our suburb, so it's really
Yeah,
hard
it's
at
a
the moment.
shocker.
So we just have to wait, I guess. I'm hoping in a few weeks when like all this is over, like we come out of stage 4, so we can at least do that. Because I know a lot of guitarists I can easily set up an acoustic set with, but it's just the COVID thing that's holding us back. But I'm honestly not worried about this album slipping through the cracks. I just feel like the universe will deliver it. I know I'm one of those annoying
Nice.
spiritual people.
No, it's all right.
but
It's
but
good. You got to be
yeah, no,
positive.
but I think I worked so hard for 2 years that I feel like it just can't be ignored. Like, and if you, I guess, target properly and you connect with your fans properly, that will build over time. It's a slow burning thing. I don't expect anything to happen overnight. So yeah.
Good on you. Hey, I'm gonna have to wrap things up. I've got my next interview shortly, but before we do, tell everybody listening or potentially even watching where they can find your music. So I know you've got a really good Facebook page there, but you're on Spotify, Apple Music. Have you got physical copies as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a merch store launching in about 2 weeks, so I can give you the link and maybe you could put it in the
Nice.
description. If you look up Luna Vexa, Vexa, I'm pretty much on everything like Deezer, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, whatever you've got, and then there'll be CDs with signed booklets that I've got on my
Mhm.
store as well. So yeah,
Great name, by the way. I like your image. I love everything about you as a package. You've figured that out, and a lot of artists don't go to that effort.
thank you. I mean, the name, it's hilarious. Like, I used to just be Luna, but then there was so many Lunas, and it was really hard to find me. So, actually, my publicist recommended for this release, they're like, you need to, like, throw in a last name or something. And so, in like 15 minutes, I wrote Vexa on a napkin. I was like, I really want an X in there. I want it to sound like a Marvel character or something. And then like everyone was so shocked, and my fans were like, it took them a while to like get used to it. They were like, no, but then they were like, I love it after like a few weeks. But my drummer that I work with, he was
Mm.
just like, an artist name change is such a big deal. Like people really think about this for a long time, but you just bipolar overnight. You're like, yep, Luna Vexa, we're good to go. And then I'm forever that. So yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, look, good stuff with this. I love it. I love what you're doing. May you continue to make music and prosper making music the way you have been. And yeah, outstanding release. I truly am enjoying it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
No worries.
All right.
Pleasure. So yeah, definitely send me the link. Actually, the merch link. I want to make sure that we get it out for you. You know.
Yeah, cool.